Ball first and 10 at the 12-yard line of the Seahawks. Sean goes right, has a cutback lane, and he does. He's across the 20, the 25, 30, 35, 40. Here he goes. Are they going to catch him? 40, 35, 30. Touchdown, Seahawks!
12, they're bringing the trophy home. Your Seahawks, Super Bowl 48 champions.
Holy catfish! Baldwin's going to throw back to Russell. He's got it! Touchdown! Seahawks! Are you kidding me?
Let's Hawk It Out with your hosts Kevin Porter and Rich Harris.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not every week that your defense goes on Monday Night Football and sets an all-time record for the TV broadcast. Welcome to Let's Hawk It Out. Of course, as always, Kevin Porter here with Rich Harris. Damn, it feels good to be a Seahawks fan this evening, Rich Harris.
Hells yeah. Man, God, what a game. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better, more exciting game than that, especially as a dedicated fans as we are. But yeah, Jesus, man. I mean, you were talking about it when we closed down our last podcast about going into MetLife where we won the Super Bowl at. And I had no idea that we've been now still undefeated at that stadium.
Yep.
6-0. That's crazy.
6-0, baby. Seahawks all day, every day in MetLife.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, I mean, that was really good. I put a lot of points on them as far as my little pick'em league. So, you know, I was really confident of my team this week going in there on Monday night primetime on the road and whooping on the Giants. It was a great night.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we've already alluded to, your Seattle Seahawks took on the New York Giants on Monday Night Football, the national broadcast, the big one, baby. Just as we record this as of yesterday, but this last week here, and dominated. Did I say dominate? I said dominate. 24-3. Your Seattle Seahawks come out the winners. You know, obviously, let's just go and focus on that first quarter right there. It was an up and down quarter. It wasn't looking very pretty going back and forth between the Giants. You know, obviously, we got the deferment, dude. Which I always love. I always love it when we get the ball back at the second half rather than the first half, and we stopped him, dude. And then first play, you know, K9 goes out, and what happens? They call a touchdown. We didn't know if he was down or not, but man, right off the bat, dude, the Seahawks were somewhat cooking there for a second.
Yeah, it started out kind of slow, and between the two teams, you know, it was a primetime game in front of the whole nation and the world, for that matter, for whoever watches worldwide. But yeah, I mean, it did start out slow, and then boy, when we really started turning the wheels and firing on all cylinders, it really turned into a whole different ball game. And there's a lot that went on. I think there's a lot that we can discuss and subject matter wise, but yeah, domination. I mean, that was basically my one word as well. You said dominate, but it was a dominating night, so domination was kind of the one word. You know, I mean, I've got some numbers here too right off the bat from Seahawks.com. If you want to look at some of those things, I mean, one of them right off the bat is we had 4 different players to record multiple sacks, which was Bobby Wagner, Jordan Brooks, Uchenna Nwosu, and Devon Witherspoon. And do you want to talk about Devon Witherspoon?
I think we have to. I mean, they were showing the whole broadcast. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were talking about how the Seahawks so benefited from that Russell Wilson trade here last year. And I mean, he's on there. They included him. Technically speaking, Denver gave him to us, you know, with that pick there, dude. So it was quite the pick six, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he had like 90, I think it was 97 yards, which was the second longest pick six in team history behind the 97 yarder that Bobby Wagner had in 2008. And again, this information is coming from Seahawks.com. They had 12 important numbers here from this game, and it's always nice when they put that out there. I don't think they do it all the time, but I'm happy to let everybody know where I'm getting the material from. Some really good stats here. We had 29 wins on Monday Night Football and only 12 losses so far. So it looks like that improved on an already NFL leading winning percentage on Monday night.
Is that Seahawks overall, or is that just with Pete Carroll?
No, I don't think Pete Carroll's been around that long enough to have 29 on Monday night.
No, you're right. Never mind. That is all time. I was just thinking Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll in general, just in prime time, has always performed very, very well. And last night was the case as well.
Exactly. It was a true case of that. And I was telling my relatives when we went and had some pizza, friends and family, and for the game, and I was telling them beforehand, they said, what do you think? And I said, I think the odds are with us because we're a better team. We've been playing better. The Giants are struggling. There happened to be a Giants fan in the household as well.
Oh, no.
Not very confident in Daniel Jones at all. Just saying, the guy kept saying he was a joke and stuff like that. And boy, he sure really showed why the fan is disappointed. You don't pay attention to him that much, the other quarterbacks, unless you're around another fan that's from the opposite team. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I was telling him I feel good about Pete Carroll in primetime, especially on the road. It just seems like we win primetime on the road pretty well.
I mean, you want to talk about, somebody possibly losing his job live on television. I mean, Daniel Jones is that candidate, dude. I mean, like, I was telling you off air, dude, my wife was sitting there and she's like, I feel bad for him. I mean, the coach is going up to him, yelling at him. Fans are leaving in droves, dude. He throws a 97-yard pick six. It's like, it's just like, I wouldn't be surprised if they bench that guy for for their backup, man. I mean, that was quite the beating that he took last night.
Yeah, for sure, especially once he got that interception. I mean, they never did put in a backup at all, I don't think, huh? They just kept him in there.
They did at the very end.
At the very end, yeah. But he was the one that threw the interception to Witherspoon, though. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he didn't get taken out like mid-game or anything. They let him play pretty much till like it was like garbage time, at that point. Because like I'm over on ESPN.com where we want to talk about numbers, dude. So if you go to the win probability for this game, by the fourth quarter, dude, we had a 97.7% chance of winning this game, dude. Like, it wasn't even in question, dude. It was just pretty much the entire game. I mean, like you said, going into it, obviously we talked about it a little bit last week. And, from what we saw, dude, the Seahawks are definitely the better team out there against the New York Giants, and obviously it's a week-to-week league. We never know what's going to happen. I mean, we're going into Cincinnati in 2 weeks, and that's a stadium, if I remember correctly. We don't really travel to Cincinnati and play that well, it seems like. I know the last time we were down there, typically whenever we play Cincinnati, it's always a tough game, dude. So it's never an easy one. But just last night again, watching Monday Night Football, dude, the Seahawks again coming in prime time. I mean, like you have all the doubters out there nationally, obviously. Everybody is always against the Seahawks. No one is ever like, oh yeah, those Seahawks, man, they're a great team. It's always like the Seahawks but hey,
we're forgotten about. Like I always say,
11 sacks in one game, dude. I mean, come on.
Exactly. And speaking about coach, it looks like he has 175 combined regular season and postseason wins. That was his accolade last night for his career. That moved him ahead of Mike Holmgren for 15th all time. And he's now 3 wins behind Mike Shanahan and Jeff Fisher. Again, more information right there from Seahawks.com. But man, and then Bobby Wagner, 17 tackles in one night. That's given him 50 yard per game. That puts him second, tied most for second most in the league right now. So talk about somebody that we thought wasn't still within his prime. I mean, is he in his prime? Has he hit his prime? How long does his prime last?
It's crazy to think about that, considering he's been in the league for like at least over 10 years. I mean, he's the only Super Bowl champion member that's still actively on our team. Once Russell, I mean, obviously they both left that year, because Bobby did leave last year, but now he's back. So technically speaking, yeah, he's still playing. Like you said, like, is he in his prime? Is he not in his prime? I don't know, man. I was really impressed with Bobby Wagner. I was impressed with obviously the entire defense, but just watching specifically Bobby Wagner, he was there so many times when the ball was there, dude. Like, he was getting tackles. Like you said, right. 17, right? He had 17 tackles throughout the
17 tackles that day, that night. Yeah, he's got 50 across,
dude.
50 across the first 4 games. That's 12.5 a game average. I mean, for one guy, that's pretty impressive. And you're right, you just seem to see him showing up on most of the plays. It's just like, Bobby Wagner, and a few others that are showing up a lot too. But anyway, yeah, a lot of accolades last night. It's nice to see those numbers there that Seahawks.com put together for us. And it's just really nice to see that 5th pick that we took in the first round. Like you said, that's the Denver pick. We were watching those ones really close, where we were wondering, how we would capitalize off that. What do you call it? Not equity, but anyway,
it was a free pick, basically, in a sense.
Yeah.
Because, there was no expectation. We all thought, again, we obviously, for back reference, everybody can go back and listen to last season's podcast where we did talk a lot about the Russell Wilson trade, and we were just kind of like, okay, well, we'll it is what it is, whether it's the first pick in the draft or a 32nd pick in the draft, we don't know. And then it turns out to be the 5th pick in the draft, and we're like, holy shit, going into the offseason, like, we got a top 5 pick, dude. Devin Witherspoon comes in, dude, and balling, and he was playing the nickel last night, which I guess is like he's just now trying the nickel position for the very first time within the season. And damn, dude, he made a case that they might just want to keep him in that slot, dude. Just keep him playing that.
Yeah, he's so dynamic. He's all over the place. He's a great tackler. Remember we were talking about open field tackling? Look at him open field tackle. For the most part, he's had his mistakes. They all do. But, God, that guy's gritty. He's a beast. He hits hard. He wraps people up. Again, we're talking about the tackling problems, and he looks like a pro. He just jumped on the field, and he continues to look like a pro. And I think it's a great spot for him to be because he can float around. He can do some blitzes every now and then. He can cover those guys that are taking the screens. He does have some catch-up speed, so if he gets burned a little bit or needs to catch up to somebody in space, he can do that. But look at somebody like him, and look at the way he plays with as much dynamic speed and grit as the defensive diva, Jamal Adams.
Coming back for his first game in over a year, dude.
Supposed to be a veteran and a pro, and plays in a similar fashion where he's all over the place and really goes after hitting players hard, but we talk about him being more calculated. Devon Witherspoon as a rookie is setting the example of how you can still play hard and tough and mean but be calculated and not do dumb things that are going to injure yourself. And I'm sorry, Jamal. It's hard to say that wasn't dumb for you to just throw your head down there at the ground and at his knees, rather than having a more calculated type of attack. And now here he is.
It was really disappointing to see that.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it was his mistake of tackling technique, in my opinion. You don't tackle like that.
It's exactly what it was. And you just referenced the broadcast. Troy Aikman immediately is like, yeah, well, in Pee Wee football, the first thing they teach you is to keep your head up when you go for the tackle. And yes. He looked awesome out there. Because I guess he had a longer stint, in the game, than Aaron Rodgers did in the very first game when he had 4 plays. I think maybe,
he had double that.
He had 5 or 10, yeah.
I think it was 8 or 9.
Yeah, he had that miss. He had the missed sack, which obviously I immediately thought to you because I was like, it felt like maybe that was some he had wrong technique and then he just got away from him. I don't know, but he did seem very impactful though. Those first stretch of plays there. But yeah, then he just goes for that shitty tackle and he gets kicked in the head. And then you see him arguing once he's outside the 10. He's arguing.
Let me back in the game or whatever.
It's bro, you have a concussion. You're done for the game. It's over. Live to fight another day. And yet he's out there arguing like a little bitch. You call him
ego.
a diva.
That's all ego. And yeah, that's why we call him diva. It's the same to me. It's the same. It's just disappointing. He had one great hit. I was like, he came up and just nailed a guy. And I was like, go, okay, be that guy. Show us. It's like Jerry Maguire, show us the money.
Exactly. No, and yeah, dude, it's just very disappointing. At least it's not something that's going to keep him out. Obviously we have the bye now, so it gives him proper time for him. We should see him in Cincinnati technically. At least, we'll see if he lasts though, man, because man, that 2020 season when he first came over, dude, he led the team in sacks, dude, and ever since then, dude, it's been nothing but a wash. And I want to see him get right, dude, because I don't want to sit here on an internet fan podcast talking shit about it. But
it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right, but he kind of leaves us no choice, because it's just disappointment after disappointment, and really a lot of money spent. And it is what it is. But we'll definitely move on.
No, real quick, I want to shout out some love to my boy Julian Love, dude. Holy shit, that guy has impressed me all season since he's come over from the New York Giants. Obviously, playing his former team right here, dude, and like all season, dude, he has been there, dude. Just like we talk about Bobby Wagner, dude. It really feels like they're really complimenting each other out there, and they're just stopping that fucking run, dude, and get to the wide receiver, dude. I mean, they're man, I'm so pumped after last night, dude. Our defense is looking good, dude.
Yeah, they look really good, and I agree. They're firing on all cylinders. They're making sense of things. They're building that chemistry that we've been looking at, and we've been talking about all that coming together, and it's nice to see it finally coming together for us. That defense is the way that Pete Carroll wants to do it, and then that running game is right there. I mean, Ken Walker looks good still. Zach Charbonnet starting to get a little bit more of his downhill, running going for us and complementing so that we can shake it up and mix up the defense. So that's really nice to see coaches, strong defense and running the ball, managing the clock, all of that is starting to come together. It's the classic Pete Carroll way, and it's looking good. I like it. Little goosebumps on my arm right now.
Charbonnet looks tough, dude. He's playing super tough out there, and like you said, dude, he's a real nice compliment to K9, dude. Because K9's, he's definitely carrying the load, but man, Charbonnet is. I mean, we got DJ Dallas as our special returns player, dude. And like DJ's obviously he's played running back before, but like this season, primarily just doing that 1-2 with Charbonnet and K9, dude. Like that's looking really good, dude. Real quick, I'd like to get into Geno Smith, man. We had a little bit of a scare last night. I mean, that was that dog collar tackle. I mean, it wasn't necessarily the form grabbing him by the back, dude, but the way they've been describing it is like the way he was landed on. But that used to be a dirty move back in the day to take out a wide receiver, dude, or anybody in that sense. Yeah, real dirty move, man. Real dirty move.
It's almost like you put your weight on their shoulders somehow and weight them down like you're the sandbag, and you're trying to apply more weight into their support of their legs.
Yeah.
Right? You take a double body and you're like, okay, and then you jackhammer the guy down with just gravity and your weight on top of his weight. And usually something down there in your legs will go because it's the weight of 200 and something pound men and only one guy's legs. That's just kind of the way I look at it. And it is. And when you do that, you're basically just not giving him much chance for his body or his legs to fluctuate or get out of the way or naturally bend the way they're supposed to naturally bend. It looked pretty ugly and it was a little scary. Drew Lock came in. Drew Lock looked, he slowly got going, and then he connected with his Denver implant Noah Fant, which was kind of neat to see. He actually was going to him a few times, and they were like, well, he really likes that Noah Fant. I was the people in the house that I was at, and I was like, well, yeah, they both came over in the Russell Wilson trade, and he used to throw passes to him a lot from Denver. But definitely looked really good.
Yeah, dude. It like, going back to Geno, man, I mean, by all means, it was very scary. Obviously he stayed in the game for a second. He went straight up to one of their captains on defense and started talking shit to him, dude. And I was loving that. I was like, get him, Geno, get him. And then like they obviously, they pulled him out for that series, and damn, dude, Drew Lock, kudos to him, dude. Because it was looking a little slow there for a second, but he did connect on a couple, and obviously the Noah Fant one, which, obviously we thought was a touchdown, but got called back, we had two major touchdowns, get called back. Obviously the second one, we actually, had K9 kind of make up for the one running back, the one touchdown he had earlier that got called back on the first play of their offense, or on our offensive drive, back in the first quarter. But yeah, dude, it was good to see Drew Lock at least get that, because, that's just going to build nothing but confidence moving forward. You listen to Coach talk on the Pete Carroll show earlier today on 710, and he's talking about, how, man, he starts off a little rough, dude, but, Drew Lock, once he gets a little bit of confidence, he dials it in, and he can make it. He can make it happen. So it sounds like Geno's okay. I mean, obviously X-rays were negative. He came back into the game, which, I mean, it kind of, we scored. We did so well that first half that really in the second half we didn't have to do much. And, we did see our offense kind of stall out a couple times, obviously throughout the second half. But, I mean, that's all. I mean, obviously you clean that up moving forward where you need to. But, damn, dude, between the points that we did score on offense and our defensive touchdowns, that's all you need, buddy. That's a win.
Yeah, and hopefully Gino's okay, and it's nice to see that our backup is also okay once he got warmed up and his confidence built a little bit. So, did we have any other injuries to speak of that you can?
We had a lot. I mean, our offensive line got just gutted, dude. I mean, they were talking about it all on the broadcast, dude. It was just like, we're patching it in there. We patched it up so much, and they played very well, dude. They held
still
it
holding
together.
it down. Yeah,
I mean, dude, they had two sacks on us compared to the 11 that we got, dude. Like, you know,
Right.
I mean, that last hit that Gino took, you know, obviously speaking with the injury that occurred earlier, or the possible injury, I should say, like, I was a little scared to see him get hit. Like, I was like, oh no, like, crazy. My body's tensing up. I was like, oh, Gino, withstand it. We'll live to play another down. And but yeah, dude, we had our a couple people off our offensive line get taken out, and then obviously the Jamal Adams concussion.
So we didn't really want to see the bye week come in week 5. That was too early. You know, nobody wants to have that first bye week or whatever, or so early in the 17 game season or whatever it is. Or is it 18 now? I keep forgetting. I get that number confused.
I'm still, it's 8.
Yeah, I think it's 17. 18 weeks, I believe. But anyway, that's when I lose my thought. What was I talking about?
17 games, dude. No, man. I really look at the schedule, man. I really feel like
5.
Yeah, and I remember was talking about when the schedule came out. We talked about it on a previous podcast, but like, I really feel like the NFL is kind of doing the Seahawks dirty right now, dude. Because you think about it, we just went into New York, had a big Monday night road game. Okay, so now we have our bye in the 5th week, which is super early in the season, and then, you know, immediately coming out of that, instead of having a home game, which I thought that Cardinals game was coming out of the bye. No, we're going to Cincinnati now to play the Bengals, which obviously the Bengals aren't, you know, lighting up the world like they were a couple of years ago. They're not really doing too hot. Joe Burrow's, I think, on the sideline. But I mean, two consecutive road games coming out of the, like, with the bye in the middle. That's kind of fucked up, man. Come on,
yeah,
Rock.
for sure.
I don't know who creates the schedule, but yeah, come on.
Well, you know, I don't know if they actually use like a computer to do all that and it's all random like they say or what. But, you know, it is. We were talking earlier about the bye week being a little too early, so to speak. But maybe it's going to be okay because we might need it right now to get those linemen back together. And
I think so.
Adams is just going to do what Adams does.
Adams does what Adams does.
But yeah, maybe it's actually okay that we're having it early. I always like to look for the silver lining. Like I said, we're both pretty much optimists here, and maybe we need it right now so that we can get those first stringers healed up and let the other guys, the backup guys, heal up behind them, and then maybe we can go strong. Even though it's just so impressive that the backups have still been holding down the fort and keeping Gino protected and giving him enough time to get that ball out there.
Which is great to see, dude, because in years past, man, that offensive line, dude, is something they've been working on for years at this point. So the fact that our backups are playing just as good as our starters, like, please, dude, that's what you want, dude. That's how you build and win championships, is by having depth like that. And
the depth is there. And, you know, remember I was using the word depth too much, and I thought, well, maybe we don't have as much depth on the O-line and the D-line. And boy, that O-line has proved us wrong, because even like in talking around the league, the announcers were talking about that O-line and how beat up they are, but yet how they're holding down the fort and still keeping Gino, giving him some time. And he's throwing it to almost everybody. I mean, he's throwing it to Jackson Smith. He's throwing it to Lockett like normal, DK like normal, getting Parkinson involved. Will Disley must be injured or something. I haven't seen him on the field for a while, and then you got Noah Fant. He's throwing it. So he's pretty much spreading the ball around to everybody. Maybe a little screen here and there to Ken Walker. So that just shows me he's getting time to make decisions and make multiple reads. And within those reads, he's finding different guys open at different times. And so that just goes to show how much time he's having to make those decisions, in my opinion.
Nah, man, he's looking so good. I mean, again, with that injury scare, it really reassured me, or made me think about it. You know, that I was like, I really want Geno Smith to be our quarterback. All respect to Drew Lock, man. I was like, am I taking Geno's performance for granted? You know, and it's like, damn, I better not, dude, because he could be out at any given moment, dude. You know, depending on what happens, and it's like, you really you gotta appreciate what we have and how Geno Smith is playing, and like, I mean, again, he may not be a household name, dude. He may not be a Patrick Mahomes or a, any other name that's out there in the NFL, dude. I mean, but he's a solid quarterback, and he is, again, like you said, dude, he's getting into all these different wide receivers out there and tight ends and running backs, and he's connecting, dude. He's on point with his passing, and I mean, the numbers don't lie. They don't lie, Rich.
Yeah, and even the fella from a different perspective, the Giants fan that was in the household that we were at last night, he said Geno is not showing any changes, if not just good changes in his second year. In other words, there's no sophomore slump. There's no, that was a fluke year. He's building on it, and other fans from around the league that may be looking from the outside in agree. And it was good to hear that. I didn't even ask a question. It was just like, oh, Geno sure ain't slowing down this year or something. He looks just as good, if not better, than last year. And I was like, oh, that's good to hear. That's from a Giants fan. So.
Hey, yeah, dude. I mean, that's what you want to see, dude. Because like I was a little scared, when they gave him that 3-year deal, the $100 million and whatnot. Because again, like, not saying it's going to go to his head or anything like that, but it's just time and time again, dude. You just see it. Somebody they have one great year. Look at Daniel Jones, for example. They just ate him, dude, in the off season. Right. He just got a new contract. He's not going to see probably year 2 of that contract based on the way he's played the last month, dude. Like, he's done. Like, right. I'd be very surprised to see him rebound after what has gone down this last month in New York. Sorry, but I mean, I was a little worried though with Geno, but like you said, dude, no sophomore slump so far, dude. Like, he's coming into year 2 as a starter. I mean, and again, like, you got to give it up to, our offensive coordinators, our defensive coordinators, dude, our coaches out there. That, I mean, lights out, dude. Like, it really feels like a different season. I mean, again, not necessarily a different season, but like, we're building upon what we were last year, and it's just, I don't know. It was never a rebuild, dude. It was never a rebuild. It was just a build up, dude, or whatever. It's
kind of similar to the way Drew Lock came out in those first 4 plays, and we came out in our first 4 games. A little slow, a little less confident, a little slow to get clicking, but then the confidence is there as far as the team is concerned. And again, that cohesion we talk about and chemistry is starting to develop, and all of that, it revolves around what the coaches are teaching them and how that applies to the field. So it is that we're definitely seeing how it applies to the field at this point. And I think it's a good idea that they continue to go forward in that fashion and just trust in the system. I really do.
Yeah, dude, the system is really proving to, again, like, I was thinking about this here the last couple of weeks, man. It's like, it's really weird how, like, Bill Belichick, when his divorce came with Tom Brady, dude, it really showed that Tom Brady meant a lot to the Bill Belichick system, dude. Like, he meant a lot. I mean, I don't know if Bill Belichick's going to survive the season, dude. I don't think he's going to get fired mid-season or anything, but like, they're not playing well. They're not living up to that Patriot dynasty of, years past, decades past now at this point. But when the Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll divorce happened, thank God, it's being proven that Pete Carroll's system really is an awesome system, dude, and it produces talent and, possibly a championship here in the next season or so. You never know what's going to happen as we build on, because again, like, you listen to Pete Carroll today on the radio, he's talking about, we're just getting started. They're just getting started, Rich.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're fortunate to go back to the Geno one. I lost my train of thought a little bit back there, but he is different than the rest of them as far as getting paid and getting a decent amount. But his frustration, if you could see it, was, and the way he was yelling at those teams, is he don't want those guys to end possibly his career, or end his season. He wants to succeed. He wants to show that he can get better and improve, and that's genuine. There's, we're lucky to have him and the type of player, and that's another kudos to the scouts and then John Schneider and his draft team and everything, because they're finding the right guys with the right mindsets that play for the right reasons, and for the most part. And Geno is one of them, and I'm glad that he's a humble fella that is willing to take a smaller as compared to around the league, and maybe not be so widely known, but maybe at the same time prove any of the doubters wrong that he can play the game just as big as some of the big names that are getting paid the big money, and he ain't going to tell you about it or be in your face about it. You're just going to hear about it.
Yeah, it's really cool, after all these years, obviously, Geno Smith getting drafted to the New York Jets, starting his career in MetLife Stadium, ending his New York Jets career, obviously, with that injury that happened so many years ago in that same stadium. For him to come back Monday Night Football, it's like you said last year, the last time he was on Monday Night Football, Rich, they wrote me, but I didn't write back, dude. I mean, Geno Smith all day, every day. I mean, I felt really, it felt really good for him, and thankfully, again, he's not hopefully injured too much off that tackle. And again, dude, we'll obviously have next week off. We'll have our bye, and we will be back in Cincinnati for the following week. And I don't know, man. I mean, we like you said, we're always the glass is always half full when it comes to our opinions on this podcast and where we're going. And
right.
Damn, dude, I mean, 3-1, dude. I mean, coming out of that Los Angeles Rams loss, you're thinking like the sky's falling, dude. But hey, man, the Lions, the Panthers, and now the Giants, man, those games have all produced really awesome results. And I'm really excited for Cincinnati, Rich.
We got to stay right in there so that we can be right there neck and neck with the Niners, because again, that best path, as we always say, is through the NFC West, and we can't let the Niners pull away from us. They're 4-0 now. We're 3-1, so we're right there. We need them to lose one. We need to keep winning, and maybe we can surpass them, and then we'll have our game against them on Thanksgiving night. That's going to be a good game, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a playoff type game. Assuming that our records are going to be very close by then, we might be ahead of them a little bit more by then. Who knows? But we gotta stay with them. The Rams and the Cardinals, I don't know if they'll be up there with us fighting for that NFC West, but let's keep our eyes on that. Let's keep our eyes on sticking right there with the Niners.
Well, the Rams are 2-2, so they're definitely right on our heels, which is kind of surprising again after the way they played us the first week, dude. It's just like complete surprise, coming out of that game. But yeah, man, like you said, dude, the NFC West is where it's at. Obviously speaking, once we get out of Cincinnati, that's when the division games, I think, start coming up. We play the Cardinals for the first time. I think they propped up the schedule. I should just bring it up, obviously with the podcast and whatnot, so we can talk about it. But they brought up the schedule on the TV screen last night, and it looked like a very winnable schedule, Rich.
Yeah, I think so. We got the Cardinals after that at home, and then we have 2 home games. I know I'm going to one of them. We've got the Cardinals, and then we've got the throwback game for the Browns.
I'm so excited for that game, dude. I'm so excited to see the jerseys.
Yeah, definitely, with the fans having the jerseys and us playing in them, obviously, first and foremost. But I think those are both very winnable ball games based on the way that the Browns and the Cardinals are playing, and we're going to be at home, and the way that our team is playing and advancing their gameplay. So let's get that win in Cincinnati. Let's let the guys heal up over this early bye week, but maybe it's something that was needed early, because Geno and a lot of guys are affected by that. Our line, let's get that in order. Let's go into Cincinnati and kick some ass, and then let's come back home in front of the fans and go from there, because we do have Philadelphia down the road here as well, and that is also a home game for us, and that's going to be an NFC one right there that we got to take from them, so that we can put ourselves up a notch and knock them down a notch, depending on where it lies at that time.
Yeah, dude, I'm looking at this schedule, dude, and again, like I know I said it earlier in the broadcast, but whenever we do play the Bengals, it always seems like a tough game, and even the Browns, dude, the Browns always play tough. Also, it seems like. Even the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals always historically have come up to Seattle and played us very tough, dude, no matter what their standings are, dude. So any given Sunday, obviously speaking, but the Bengals are like, 1-3. Cardinals, they're not playing very well in terms of their standings. And we have the Ravens coming up immediately after the Browns game, and they have a winning record, and that's in Baltimore. Yeah, man. Then we got the Commanders, the Rams. Yep, and then you got that 49ers, November 23rd, dude. Seattle Seahawks versus the 49ers in Seattle, dude, which that's, like you said, that's going to be a playoff. It feels like that's going to, if the standings are as tight as they are on November 23rd, comparing it to October 3rd, as we record this, like, it's, damn, dude. It's going to be a fun environment up there in Seattle.
For sure. Prime time, Thursday night football, Thanksgiving. Only game on that time of night, whatever. Yeah,
I can't believe it. Oh man. Okay, I think we've covered the game. Unless you get any final thoughts, Rich. But man, this is an exciting episode.
Yeah, definitely a lot of reasons to be excited, and hopefully we're smiling like this as much as we go out through the season. And I have a feeling we will. We're going to have our ups and downs like any team does, but I'm looking forward to having a successful season and seeing how they continue to ride this wave that they're starting to get on now. So that's all I got.
All right, for Rich Harris, I'm Kevin Porter. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in 2 weeks in Cincinnati. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
All right.
Can you win a game in the first quarter? No!